If you think one woman sitting in the wrong seat can't shake an empire, think again. They told her to move. She refused. They smiled politely, then threatened her with security. What they didn't know, she wasn't just a passenger. She was the quiet force behind the systems they depended on. A black woman in seat 1A, not armed with outrage, but with ownership. Yeah, that happened. By the time her plane took off without her, 3 careers would be ruined, an airline forced to shut down, and an entire industry staring down a reckoning. And it all started with one seat. Let me back up a sec. You could smell citrus and leather in the Skylux first-class cabin, the kind of place engineered to whisper luxury. Everything gleamed steel accents, cream leather, attendants in those crisp uniforms, faces carved into corporate calm. I slipped quietly into seat 1, window side, the seat I'd chosen and paid for weeks ago, not just a preference, a statement. In a world always telling me to shrink, I let myself have this little luxury. As I settled in, blazer off, briefcase tucked just so, I clocked her the tall, platinum blonde, pantsuit tailored to perfection, gliding down the aisle like she owned the sky. She stopped beside me, fake smile, eyes cold as ice. "You're in my seat," she said, not asking but declaring. "This is seat 1A, I answered cool and even. "Yes, it's my seat. I always sit here." The kind of tone people use when talking down to staff who dare to exist. I reached for my wallet, pulled out my boarding pass platinum status. Seat 1A, clear as day. Her eyes skipped over the evidence. "I'm Lorraine Chambers," she said, like that should open every door. "This seat is usually reserved for me. Ask anyone." Before I could answer, the flight attendant approached Jessica, blonde, composed. Her gaze skipped me, straight to Lorraine. "Is there a problem?" "This woman's in my seat," Lorraine said, sharing a joke only she found funny. Jessica turned to me. "Miss Morgan, there may have been a mix-up. Could you move to 3A? Just as nice." I kept my tone smooth. "I'm a platinum member. I booked this seat 2 weeks ago. I have confirmation." Jessica hesitated, forced a smile. "MS. Chambers is one of our elite flyers. We try to prioritize continuity. Continuity doesn't override confirmed reservations," I said, smile still there, but voice sharp as glass. Jessica blinked, promised to check with the supervisor, and scurried off. Lorraine leaned in. "I've flown this route for 5 years. That seat is always mine. I don't know how you got it, but..." She let the words hang, sour. I turned away, silence louder than any comeback. Behind me, I noticed a guy recording on his phone, a woman in 2D whispering to her husband, all eyes on us. Jessica returned, jaw tight, all pretense gone. "Miss Morgan, I'll ask once more, could you relocate to 3A? "No, I paid for this seat. I have status. I'm staying." Jessica's mouth worked, then stopped. She glanced at Lorraine, who now stood there, amusement curled at the edges of her lips. And then I watched Lorraine slip a bundle of cash into Jessica's hand, quick and practiced, as if they'd rehearsed it. Jessica tucked it away with equal ease, and I felt sick before I could even think. "I'd like to speak with the cabin supervisor," I said. Jessica hedged. "He's preparing for departure. I'll wait." Cameras clicked on behind me. Someone whispered, "Is she seriously being bribed right now?" Jessica squared her shoulders. "Just ensuring everyone's comfortable, Miss Morgan. Then let me sit where I paid for." Her mask dropped. "I'll notify the supervisor." Lorraine's glance was pure contempt. "You know what I mean? That quiet before a storm?" That was the cabin now. I sat tall not out of defiance, but because I knew this script by heart. Spaces earned, then questioned, then threatened. This wasn't about airline policy, it was about something older and uglier. And I wasn't moving. I pulled out my phone and started recording quiet. No drama. I texted Natalie, my head of PR. Clip started. Possible escalation. Prepare comms. Then Jason, my legal. Documentation complete. Video live backup. Not for show protection. Too many moments like this vanish under corporate rugs. I leaned back, closed my eyes, and remembered a night in Chicago, 10 years ago, fresh out of college. Nervous in my thrifted blazer, reservation at a steakhouse for a job interview. The hostess ignored me, let others in, told me they were full. I waited. My interview called You Never Showed. The job went to someone else. That's how the world pushes you out quietly, politely, slamming the door without raising its voice. Cabin voices rose around me. She has the card, the pass, everything, someone whispered. Eyes darted from Lorraine to me, back again. Then a new voice, calm but firm, cut through. This is unacceptable. Men in 3C, black, 40s, gray suit, navy tie. She paid. She has her card. What's the issue? Jessica tried to smooth it over. We're handling it, sir. No, he said, stepping into the aisle. You're mishandling it. I've flown this airline for years. Some passengers get coddled, others pushed out. I'm tired of the pattern. Lorraine rolled her eyes. He turned to her. You've said enough. Phone's out now, everywhere. He looked at me. Miss, if you need a witness, I'll give a statement. Thank you, I said quietly. But I'm not moving. The man nodded like we were comrades in a war nobody else saw. Jessica whispered into her radio, supervisor inbound, possible disturbance. I kept filming, not out of fear but resolve. The cabin buzzed, tense. Lorraine muttered, I should have been halfway through my Chardonnay by now. I didn't flinch. Then came Daniel Grant, supervisor broad, blazer, presence like a storm. Miss Morgan, I supervise first-class operations. There's a dispute about your seat. No disputa, irabia. This is seat 1, and on my ticket, platinum member, arrived early, boarded on time. He checked his tablet, stalling. This seat is typically pre-assigned to patrons like Miss Chambers. But not today. Today it was assigned to me. Passengers leaned in phonies out, a woman across the aisle anxious, Jessica frozen beside Daniel. I'm going to ask you once more, professionally, to move. Is there an issue with my payment? My status? No. Did I violate policy? No. Then I won't move. The tension snapped. Daniel's jaw flexed. Miss Morgan, you're refusing a reasonable request. That could be interpreted as non-compliance. Reasonable would be asking the person who didn't book this seat to move. His eyes narrowed. I'm advising you as the cabin authority to move. And I'm declining. Murmurs rippled. Lorraine drummed her heels. Daniel's patience snapped. If this continues, I'll have to escalate to the flight deck. Then escalate. I'm not giving up my seat. He blinked panic under his skin, then stormed off. Jessica was rooted to the spot. Cameras were up, obvious. The air was tight. Moments later, the cockpit door swung open. Captain Miller, unreadable, flanked by Daniel and Jessica. Miss Morgan, I've been informed of a seating situation. There is no situation. I'm on my assigned seat. The rest is manufactured. He studied me calculating. Our policy allows us to adjust seating for order. You mean for entitlement, I said. Miss Morgan, I'm asking you to comply. And I already have. I booked, paid, boarded. I'm not the disruption here. He exhaled. If you refuse, I'll involve airport security. If you do, you'll explain why you removed a paying platinum member to appease a bribe. Jessica flinched. Lorraine froze. Miller's mouth twitched. You should think carefully about what happens next. He gave a final warning. I leaned back, phone recording, posture relaxed. Then call them. He walked away. The line had been crossed, not airline policy, something deeper. I turned my phone horizontal, split screen, opened email draft already written. Emergency escalation, passenger rights violation, immediate action required. Sent to the top. Richard, Vance at Skylux, board, legal, PR partners. I added a line. Incident active. Video attached. Proceed as discussed. The fire left the cabin. I called Evelyn Liu, Skylux's AI chair, through my secure app. Is it happening? She asked. Yes, stage 1 initiated. Trigger board review. Ready. Pushing now. I whispered. The countdown begins. Jessica watched me. Daniel whispered into his headset. Lorraine, still sure she'd won. But I just detonated the first charge beneath their glass fortress. Daniel returned, jaw locked. Security will meet us at the gate. Thank you for the update. He was rattled. I opened my tablet, checked the dashboard live update. System override protocol, stage 1 escalated, board access enabled. I slid it back in my tote. Anything else? Do you understand what's happening? Yes, I said. And by the time we reach taxi, everyone will too. Passengers whispered. She's more than a platinum member. She's prepared. 3C stared, now realizing this wasn't just about discrimination, this was a reckoning. Lorraine muttered, I've never seen such drama over a seat. You'd think she was royalty. I met her eyes. I'm not royalty, but I own 27% of Skylux through my tech firm. Silence. Someone gasped. She's the AI ethics CEO? Right, tech. Faces turned pale. I looked at the captain. Before you proceed, check your inbox. Your board likely sent new guidance. His earpiece crackled. It took 30 minutes for the world to catch up. TikTok, Twitter videos everywhere. A woman refused. A crew coerced. A captain escalated. Then the reveal. She owned the tech behind the airline. By the time the captain returned to the cockpit, his name was trending. Jessica's face was screenshotted. Lorraine's law firm profile was viral, sipping champagne in seat 1A. Justice for Breel, ethics over privilege. Headlines everywhere, so kicked off own airline. She wrote the rules. They broke them anyway. The woman who built the fairness engine had been discarded by the humans who refused to use it. The irony stung the world awake. At Skylux HQ, Richard Vance watched the footage, stone-faced. His team scrambled legal, PR, board all in panic. She outmaneuvered us, someone whispered. No, Vance replied. She outplanned us. Then the real twist. The system she'd built, the behavioral compliance logs, the accountability framework, the data sheet controlled it all. She triggered an audit clause, full system-wide review, real-time. The board paled. My formal notice went out. Terminate Jessica, Daniel, Captain Miller. Public apology, emergency shareholder meeting. Failure to comply meant full video release. $300 million equity withdrawal. Ethics contract terminated. Vance's hands shook as he ordered. Fire them all. Draft apology, shareholder meeting by 4:30. Back in the cabin, Jessica gone, Daniel disappeared, Lorraine sunk in her seat. Passengers applauded. The storm was only beginning. Hours later, press releases confirmed. All three terminated, public apology posted, system-wide reform promised. Lorraine's law firm dropped her, bio erased, her privilege now evidence. The world watched, not just for retribution, but for what came next. And what came next? I sent a proposal, not for vengeance, but for Re-Education Second Sky, a human reformation initiative. 6 months of immersive retraining, not just for those fired, but for the whole company, built around empathy and accountability. The world was stunned. Mercy? Strategy? Call it both. The three who tried to push me out now sat in a Denver classroom, no press, no spotlight, facing their own actions, learning what real service means. Jessica broke down. Daniel reflected. Captain Miller admitted neutrality isn't justice. Their stories rippled through Skylux and beyond. Other airlines called, asking for the model. Then came the unprecedented. Skylux suspended all flights for 48 hours. We are learning to serve again. Every airport screen read. Workshops replaced schedules. Empathy booths instead of check-in desks, story circles, role reversals, pilots learning humility. It cost millions, but gained the world's respect. How can they afford this? How could they afford not to? Months later, Jessica, Daniel, and Captain Miller spoke to 8,000 employees, not defending, but confessing, transforming. Social media exploded, not with outrage, but with hope. Forgiveness is real when change is visible. I was asked, how did it feel to watch them own up? I said, it felt like the sky got lighter. When I finally spoke to a packed auditorium, no script, just truth, I said, justice isn't a seat, it's a standard. I didn't want revenge. I wanted better standards for everyone. We don't need more seats. We need a new recipe. On the day Skylux resumed flights, passengers were given cards. Your seat is your right. Welcome to the new standard. In seat 1, I finally sat, no fanfare, no victory dance, just a glass of water and a breath. Justice had been assigned, not to me, but to the system. I turned down every interview. wrote one op-ed. The power of justice lies not in the seat it occupies, but in the standard it refuses to lower. We must stop waiting to be seated at the table of fairness, or must raise the table itself. As Flight 717 touched down, a passenger said, "You never raise your voice." I smiled. I didn't need to, so let me ask you, what would you have done in seat 1A? Justice, compliance, defiance, or silence? Drop your thoughts below. Hot's the line between policy and fairness, and who really owns the sky?